Good afternoon. We are gathered here today to honor our friend and colleague, Rhonda Hunter, as she takes the judicial oath of office and is sworn in as the judge of the 303rd Judicial District Court. This day is long overdue, and we could not be prouder of our dear friend. I'm Christina Melton Crain, and I'm honored to serve as your Master of Ceremonies. In addition to our program guests seated at the dais, we are also honored to have the following special guests with us today. Dean Jennifer Collins, Dean of the SMU Dedman School of Law. The Honorable Audrey Moorhead, Judge of Criminal Court at Law Number 3. Elizabeth Phillip, Executive Director of the Dallas Bar Foundation. And our dear friend, Martha Hardwick Hoffmeister, Director of the Barnum Show, the one and only director. At this time, in honor of our country, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, to be followed by the National Anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? It now gives me great pleasure to introduce a dear friend and trailblazer, the Honorable Carolyn Wright. With her historic 2009 appointment by Governor Rick Perry as Chief Justice of the 5th District Court of Appeals, Carolyn Wright led the largest intermediate appellate court in Texas, with 13 justices serving 6 Texas counties. Now retired, she was the first African American to serve as Chief Justice on any of the 14 intermediate courts of appeal in Texas, and the first African American woman to win a multi-county election in Texas history. A Texas judge for over 30 years with civil, family, criminal, and mediation experience, Chief Justice Wright served as a practicing attorney, Dallas County Associate Judge, and State District Judge before being appointed as a justice on the Court of Appeals by Governor George W. Bush in 1995. Over her storied career, she has authored thousands of legal opinions in cases involving legal issues in every area of Texas law. Tireless in her efforts to improve the Texas judicial system, Chief Justice Wright has been richly generous with her time, actively involved and participated as a member of faculty, as a mentor, and as a leader in many organizations, including the Texas Bar Foundation, the Dallas Bar Association, the Texas Center for the Judiciary, and the National Judicial College. Chief Justice Wright has been recognized by a long list of distinguished organizations. Her many awards include the National Association of Women Lawyers Leadership Award, the American Bar Association Business Sections Award for contributions to women and proficiency in law, the Yellow Rose of Texas Award for significant contributions to her community, and last but definitely not least, her induction into the Texas Women's Hall of Fame in recognition of her 30 years of public service. Bringing things closer to home, Chief Justice Wright has been trying to get Rhonda on the bench since 1998, when Rhonda first ran for judge. Well, Chief, here we are, and what a great day it is. Please give a warm welcome to Chief Justice Carolyn Wright.
You almost died trying. It is a great day indeed. We are here to celebrate the ceremonial investiture of Judge Rhonda Hunter as State District Judge of the 303rd Judicial District Court. And those of us who know Rhonda best, we have come here to thank her. Not to congratulate her, but to thank her for all the many times that she has answered the call to give the best of her service to improve the quality of justice and to also increase diversity at every level of the bench, the bar, in the national, state, and local legal communities, as well as in our state, our county, and at our municipal government levels. What an amazing career. And I don't know why she asked me to come today to speak on what it is to be a judge. True to a PK, a preacher's kid, she needs a good sermon. So I am an unordained, well-versed teacher of the law. And so let me say that for you to accept this call to be a state district judge, it not only has great significance for me personally, but for us as a legal community. Because Rhonda does not simply bring to the bench a desire to be a judge. There's a difference in being a wannabe judge. She brings with her the level of experience, professionalism, maturity, wisdom, knowledge, fairness, patience, and humility that it takes to promote confidence in and respect for our legal justice system. What it means to be a judge is preparation, preparation, preparation. And Judge Rhonda Hunter is uniquely prepared to be a judge. It's not a secret, as has already been stated, that I have long been one of Rhonda's mentors and biggest cheerleaders. So today, it's with a source of great personal pride that I participate in this investiture service. I have shared her journey throughout her legal career, and I have wanted this moment for her long before she was willing to give up her passion to make a difference on so many other levels. And what a difference she has made in being an advocate for so many great causes. But today, she will accept the many responsibilities and sacrifices, and the sacrifices are many, of accepting one of the highest levels of leadership in our country, and which is being a judge. Many of the civil and criminal laws in our country are loosely based on Mosaic law, or what many of us know as the do's and don'ts of the 10 Commandments, and all of those thou shalt nots. And those who were proficient in the law at that time were revered as great leaders. They were known as teachers of the law or judges. And biblical references to these judges warn you against wannabe judges who are not prepared to take on such positions of power and trust. 1 Timothy says, "Now we know that the law is good if one uses it lawfully." But it also warns that there are many who seek to be judges, and it goes further to say they want to be known as teachers of the law of Moses, but they don't know what they are talking about, even though they speak so confidently. That is one thing that I do not worry about with regard to Rhonda. She is prepared, and she is a teacher of the law. When Rhonda puts on that little black robe, she is fully ready to give up her role as an advocate, because she knows that the little black robe symbolizes the judge's neutrality and humility as a servant of the people. It is the way that judges show their solidarity with all other judges who are united by their solemn oaths in the same common responsibility to uphold the Constitution and the rule of law. Once a judge takes the oath of office and places the black robe on, all vanity, arrogance, impatience, insecurities, biases, rudeness, it must be cast off and replaced with humility and simplicity. To the public, the face of a judge is a symbol of prestige, intellect, patience, honor, and respect for government power and authority, which should be used to effectuate the cause for justice. And it should not be abused for personal ambition or gain. As judges, we symbolize the highest standard of professionalism in the legal profession that encompasses a much broader concept than just legal ethics and proper judicial conduct. When we talk about the professionalism of judges, it includes not only civility amongst members of the bench and bar, but also competency, integrity, respect for diversity, for different cultures, and for all who appear before the court, and indeed the rule of law itself. It also means participation in continuing legal education. Just because you think you know it all today, every time the legislature meets, the law changes, and you won't know it the next legislative session. So you've got to continue with continuing legal education. And at all times, conduct by members of the judiciary, as I said before, should exceed the minimum ethical requirements, both on and off the bench. While the 10 Commandments and the Mosaic Law was the law for judges well before our time, the Code of Judicial Conduct is what we call the Bible of Judges. And it sets out all of the do's and don'ts and cans and cannots. And I urge you to read it. Read it once, read it twice, read it 3 times, read it often. Because there's so many pitfalls as a judge. But notwithstanding all of the limitations on judges, let me say that I'm particularly proud that judges can still be involved. And I'm really, really proud of the collective difference that judges, as a profession, can and have made and continue to make in our society. And judges remain in the forefront of visionary changes that make a difference in our legal system and in our courts. Then I can't express to you how important it is for judges to mentor and then to be mentored. And you never get too old for a mentor. Always keep a mentor. Every minute, someone is watching you. And you give up much of your security. You give up much of your anonymity. You give up a lot of your freedom of speech. Give up a lot of your freedom of association. You give up a lot of your rights of privacy. And you give it up so that no one questions whether or not you are biased when you interpret and when you enforce the Constitution and laws of this state, of the United States, in order to protect the freedoms of all. And so it's a fact that good lawyers are very vexing at times. But good lawyers really can make you a better judge. They keep you on your toes. They challenge you with things that you are, all sorts of things that you are going, where is that in the law? But I'm not going to tell you that they make it up, but they're but they are certainly creative, and you certainly must stay out on your toes. But judges still have to set the tone and the parameters for civility and professionalism in their courtroom. Sometimes it gets pretty heated, and they have to take a break and ask the lawyers to come in chambers and talk to you, or tell them, counsel, please don't talk to each other, talk to the court. And I know that you are not talking to the court in the tone that you're talking to each other, right? So but it is an experience as a judge that I would not return for anything. After 38 years and retirement, I still will go in to sit on a good case. And so it's my sincere prayer that all of those who wear the black robes in our judiciary will always be strong, that they will be independent, they will be respected and committed to the cause of justice, and make every attempt. And I know we're all human, but you have to make every attempt to ethically and accurately analyze and interpret the law so that justice is served and the public's confidence in our judicial system is not tainted by an unethical judiciary or one that succumbs to political influence. So Judge Hunter, that's what being a judge for 38 years has meant to me. And my prayer is that God will bless you in your long or short honorable service in the judiciary. I thank you so much for your willingness to serve.
Justice Wright, goes without saying, it is an honor in many ways to have you present with us today. So thank you. To provide today's swearing in, it is a privilege to introduce yet another friend and trailblazer, the Honorable Sam Lindsey. After graduating from law school, Judge Lindsey served as a staff attorney for the Texas Aeronautics Commission from 1977 to 1979. In 1979, he joined the Dallas City Attorney's Office, where he progressed through various posts until being named Dallas City Attorney in 1992. On November 8, 1997, Judge Lindsey was nominated by President Bill Clinton to be a United States District Judge of the United States District Court for the Northern District of Texas, to a new seat created by Public Law 104, Statute 5089. He was unanimously confirmed by the United States Senate on March 11, 1998, and received commission on March 17, 1998. Lindsey is the first African American to serve on the Federal District Court in Dallas. Again, bringing things closer to home, Judge Lindsey was Rhonda's first boss after being sworn into the Texas bar, working on Title VII civil rights litigation for the city of Dallas prior to Judge Lindsey becoming interim Dallas City Attorney. Please give a very warm welcome to Judge Sam Lindsey, who will provide a swearing in.
Let me say this before we get started. As stated, I've known Judge Hunter for a long time. As the young people would say, it's been a minute or two. I've always admired her work, and I'm really pleased that she has achieved this honorable position. Without further ado, we will get on with the swearing in. Judge Hunter,
Yes.
Raise your right hand. And repeat after me.
I, Rhonda Hunter,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of
the duties of
Judge of the 303rd Judicial District Court,
Judge of the 303rd Judicial District Court,
Dallas County
Dallas County
of the State of Texas,
of the State of Texas,
and will,
and will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
preserve,
preserve, protect,
and
defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I'll get my shots.
Yeah, they went off and left me. That's what Judge Sam said. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Rhonda Hunter.
Thank you so much. I want to take this opportunity to give thanks to God, give thanks for this day, and give thanks specifically to several people. First of all, thank you, Chief Justice Carolyn Wright. Funny that she talked about preparation, because Justice Wright was on the family law bench several decades ago when she called me one morning, and I picked up the phone and I said hello, and she said, yes, this is Judge Wright. I said, hi, Judge Wright, how are you doing today? I'm doing great. She said, I have a case where a man needs to be defended, and it's termination of parental rights case. And so I thought I could give you a call and see if you could do that. And I said, well, of course, Justice Wright. Of course I can defend this man, especially at your request. She says, great. The jury trial starts at 1 o'clock. We'll see you then. And hung up. So preparation meant that I spent every night of the 5 nights of that trial after that going through hundreds of pages of documents in order to be ready for the next day. I did win that trial, by the way. I also want to thank Judge Sam Lindsay. He says we worked together. He was my boss. Let's be clear. And I followed his direction, hopefully successfully. And it's my pleasure and honor to have both of these mentees here with me today. I also want to thank the dear friends who comprise the production team for today's festivities. They include my director, Martha Hardwick-Hoffmeister, my producer, Bill Bridge, my MC, Christina Melton Crain, MC and soloist, Michelle Wong-Krause, my hostess, Matt Anderson, cameraman, Byron Hunter, cameraman, and Reginald Lofton, cameraman. As you can see, I need lots of photos and videos. I also want to thank my clients. I have been practicing law for 40 years, and most of those years I was in the private practice of law. And I would not be here today but for the people who honored me by allowing me to represent them over the course of those years. It has been my pleasure and honor to represent my clients over these years, and I want to thank them at this time as I move away from the representation of individuals and take on this role as a judge. I also want to thank several of the groups and entities that have made it possible for me to honor what I have been taught over the years. And uppermost in my heart is Bar None, which is a musical variety show that benefits scholarships for ethnic students. I'm very proud of the work we've done over the past 34 years in awarding those scholarships and supplying a legal education to many who might not otherwise have received it. I want to thank the State Bar of Texas. I am currently the chair-elect of the Child Welfare Law Section. I also want to thank the Family Law Section for the many years that they allowed me to be a speaker and teacher in the law. I want to thank the Dallas Bar Association, in which I served as president several years ago now, and all of the friendships and associations that I made at the Dallas Bar and still have. I want to thank the colleagues that I have at the American Bar Association, particularly those on the Juvenile Justice Standards Task Force, the Commission on Youth at Risk, and the Diversity Center. It has been my honor and pleasure to work with the American Bar Association, and I look forward to continuing that work. I also want to thank my mentees. I have had a few over the years, and they could not have made me more proud. You out there know who you are, and I just want you to know it has been my great pleasure to be your mentor. And I anticipate that I'll have a few more coming, and my mentees will be their mentors. And to that, I am exceedingly grateful and proud. This is one of those occasions where I think back on A few more of my mentors. Fred Finch was the first African-American lawyer who was a member of the Dallas Bar Association. I law clerked for Fred Finch, and he was a great man, a great lawyer, Harvard educated, and he gave me the foundation and the first job that I had in the law by allowing me to clerk for him. L.A. Bedford was a great friend and mentor of mine. He was one of the 12 lawyers that established the J.L. Turner Legal Association. And he was one of the first to sit as a judge in Dallas, Texas. Louise Raggio was my mentor in family law, along with several others, but Louise was no nonsense. And so when you see me being no nonsense, I'm going to blame Louise. Whether it's Louise's fault or not. I also had a mentor named Adelpha Callejo. And if you think Louise was tough, Adelpha was a mentor of mine on issues and advocacy, not only in the law, but for people who just need help. I want to give thanks to my mom and my dad. My mother was an early childhood educator. She became a housewife, and I credit her with my sense of style and grace and perseverance. I recall my mother being told by doctors that my oldest sister, who was what we called mentally retarded at that time, the doctors told her that she would never be able to read or write, whereupon my mother taught my sister, Alpha, to read and to write, which she did for the rest of her life. My dad was the smartest man that I know. He had 5 degrees, 2 bachelor's, 2 master's, and a doctorate. And he was a Presbyterian minister and a college professor. He taught sociology. I went for many, many years trying to figure out what sociology was, since he was a sociology professor. I think when I got to college, I finally took a class to figure it out. My dad was a great man and a great friend of the bar. And I dedicate an honor today to them. I had an interview many decades ago. It was my first opportunity to become a judge. And the county commissioners had to make the selection. I was one of the 2 that were left for the final selection. So I went to interview with this county commissioner here in Dallas. And during the interview, very early into the interview, she said, "Well, is everybody in your family an overachiever?" At which point I knew I wasn't getting that job. And you wonder why it took so long for me to get here. Because of course, yes, everyone in my family is an overachiever. I want to particularly recognize my sister, the Reverend Dr. Rhonda Hunter, who is Director of Racial and Ethnic Ministries and Women's Ministries for the Presbyterian Church USA, and she did that for 14 years. And I would like to also recognize my brother, Byron Hunter, world-renowned film producer, who is on the camera today. When you have a brother who's a film producer, guess what he's going to film? You. And my sister, Professor Rosalind Hunter Hancock, who teaches biology. We are a very close-knit family. We really are. As is everyone that I have mentioned here today. I appreciate SMU for allowing us to have these festivities here today. I appreciate the students who are here today at my invitation because, as you said, you never stop being a mentor as well as being a mentee. And I appreciate all of you. All of you have given me the strength, the courage, and the insight to do this job that I am embarking on. And I thank you for all of that. Thank you very much.
What a fabulous day this is. To close us out, it is now my privilege and honor to call on a friend to all of us here, John Horany, amazing attorney and, like I said, a great friend to all of us, who is going to lead us in our benediction.
Thank you. Will you please hear this good word? Creator God, we give you thanks and praise and glory for bringing us here together safely. We ask you to watch over us as we leave from this place. But we've been so privileged to be here to witness the investiture of your servant, Rhonda Hunter, as a new district judge here in Dallas County. We recall that in 2 Chronicles chapter 1 and verse 11, when Solomon was about to be made king, he asked God not for riches, not for power, not for even a long life. He asked God for wisdom to be able to discern and do justice. God granted him that wisdom, and he said, because you didn't ask for any of those other things, all of them will be granted unto you. You recall in one of the early family law episodes in the book of Kings, two women were fighting over a small child. And King Solomon wisely asked for a sword to be brought so that the child could be divided and split between the two women. And the one woman said, oh no, give my son to the other woman. He knew then she was the mother of the child. People from far and wide were so impressed with the wisdom and discernment of Solomon. We ask that Rhonda be given a same double share of that wisdom and discernment in her job as a judge. We recall in Judges chapter 4, the story of Deborah, a courageous and wise woman who sat under the palm tree of Deborah, judging among the Israelites, and was renowned for her judgment, but also for her courage as she led the Israelites into battle over the King of Kings. We ask that you give Rhonda a double portion of courage and justice, just like you gave Deborah. Dear God, we ask that you please watch over Rhonda, her court, her staff, all the participants, and keep them safe from all harm. We ask that you grant Judge Rhonda Hunter the serenity to accept the things she cannot change, the courage to change the things she can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. May we go in peace.
That concludes our program today. Again, congratulations to Judge Rhonda Hunter. It's been a wonderful afternoon. Thank you all for attending. Safe travels.